What's going on, guys? Jason Damico here, and just wanted to make this video to kind of talk about something that I think any guitar player should have in their bag, whether it's at a coffee shop gig, or you're playing at church, or you're playing a larger venue, or even an arena. These are just some tools that you should have in your bag, and they've definitely came in clutch for me over the years from time to time, as well as friends. And that's kind of the main reason why I'm making this video, is because I've found myself repeatedly in countless green rooms. Somebody's breaking a string, somebody's got a neck that's tweaked or a truss rod that needs to be adjusted, and nobody really has the tools. I like having this there just as a kind of a safety net, and really just kind of gameplay anything that can go wrong. And Murphy's Law, as you know, if it can go wrong, it will, and it will in ways that will be at the absolute worst timing. So here's a couple of things I'm going to show you that you can get for relatively cheap and relatively quickly through Amazon, maybe Sweetwater, or some of those other incredible platforms where you can really gear up and just be ready for the unexpected. And with that being said, we're going to move over to the desk, because I just tried explaining this with one hand and it wasn't working. Okay, so what we got here is a bag that I was able to get on Amazon. I want to say it was about 20 or 25 bucks, and there's two different compartments here, as you can see. I'm going to try and do my best to kind of give you a bird's eye view of what's going on here. Now, some of these accessories you may not need, but I'm going to show you, as I also play harp, and for my sets with my band Jason Damico and the New Blue, I have kind of my main, I don't have like a full harp set with me here. I don't have all 12 keys, but I have the keys that I know that I'll need for our stuff, which is just 5 keys. A flat specifically, for those of you that know, we tune a half step down, so A flat is the E flat in blues harp playing, so that blue one I use quite often. I always like having a 58 on me at all times, a Shure SM58. If you're a vocalist, you obviously know that having your own mic is for sanitary purposes, especially you know, post the vid, if you know what I'm talking about, because I don't want to get flagged on YouTube. Very, very important with your sanitary purposes, and just to have, because you never know, you might be, you might be missing a mic, somebody might be missing a mic, and it's just nice to have as a backup. I always like carrying if I'm playing through a tube amp, if it's like a combo amp or whatever. In this bag, I'll have just a 12 AX7 that you can put into a Blues Junior, or any one of those kind of smaller smaller combo amps. Little ties for mic cables, 1/4-inch cables. Now for me, and I would recommend this for anybody in general, even if you aren't, I use wireless for my setup, but I would recommend having some AA's for your wireless. I use a Line 6 wireless system, and then a 9-volt, at least one 9-volt for you acoustic players. If you've got like a Taylor or a Martin, for anything acoustic wise, I would recommend having a 9-volt ready. And then in certain instances, I'll have a AAA. You never know, somebody might need a spare AAA for a small piece of gear, but I like having extra batteries with me. And then we'll go into the second compartment. Now the second compartment down here is really kind of, let me get rid of this plastic because it's going to make a bunch of noise. This second compartment is, you know, without a doubt, this is kind of the bread and butter of what I'm usually working with. I like having, you could use any type of box for this, but I like keeping my picks really well compartmentalized and just organized. So you could use, again, use anything, but I like having them in a nice box. It's just easily accessible, and I know that it's going to stay closed. Can't go wrong with just a tuner. You never know when somebody's going to need one of these, and it's just nice to have if you want to tune up in a green room or whatever. Extra bag, I don't know what it's for. Now, somebody was really cracking up when they saw this, but they're like, hey, you know, that's actually really useful to have in your bag, because let's say you go to an open mic, and, you know, a lot of times if you go to if you're in the blues genre, and anybody who's been in the scene for a while now will know, a lot of these jams, they won't have any pedals. I'm not a big pedal guy, but I like having, let's say you have an amp that's a really good tube amp, but you can't crank it to get some sustain because it's just going to be too loud for the venue or too loud for the room and just too loud for the stage in general. As a security blanket, I like having just a TS9 kind of tube screamer that's ready to go as a backup for pretty much any situation, just if you need to crank something up, if you want to have a little bit more sustain and not blow people out with your amp. It's just good to have, and it's just good to have as a backup. So I just keep it in here because I have room for it, and that runs on as everybody pretty much knows, a 9-volt. I do not carry a DC, whatever, DC or AC, whatever it runs on. Yeah, DC. I do not carry one of those with me because it takes up extra space, and the whole purpose of this is as just, you know, if I'm going to play 3 songs or 5 songs where I need a backup, I just have this ready with a battery and my extra 1/4-inch cable, and we're good to go. You know, wrench. These are just like small screwdrivers that you can use for a plethora of reasons. I'd say really the 2 most important components, or 3 most important components to this bag. Well, I got a slide here. That's not really the most important component. The 3 most important components would be my needle nose pliers for cutting strings and changing strings out. Any type of, I don't even know what they call this, but it's just basically, it helps you change your strings a lot more quickly. And then obviously, extra strings ready to go. I have it for electric and acoustic, because you just never know, right? And let's see if there's anything else in here. Allen wrenches. This is especially useful for adjusting truss rods. I've had to do this backstage multiple times for other guitarists, where somebody came in with their Martin was really freaking out on them. They had to go on stage in a few minutes, and I said, hey, you know, let's just kind of detune it real quick, pop it open, and you know, there you go. And obviously it's just great to have in general. A couple other, this is kind of like a universal size Allen wrench. It might be 5/16. Could be wrong on that, but every guitar is a little different. And I also, as a drummer, I have a drum key with me. And, you know, your drummer friends, when they forget their drum key, which hopefully they don't, it'll always be great to have one of these laying around, or at least a couple of these laying around. I like having a glass slide as well as a metal slide, just to have. It looks like something's stuck in here. I think that goes. Oh, talking about tuning pegs, I also have one for bass, which is obviously a lot larger because bass tuning pegs are comparatively a lot larger than your guitar tuning peg, so that's also great to have as well, so you're not sitting there blowing out your hand and your wrist and taking up a bunch of time to change things out. Just a standard Phillips screwdriver to flathead. Cobalt puts out some great stuff, so can't go wrong with them. And let's see if there's anything else. I got a little flashlight in here. That's kind of fun. You never know when you'll need it. You know, if you don't have your phone on you. This is actually, I told you I've had this thing for years. This was back before, believe it or not, smartphones. So this is back in the flip phone days. I think I've still had this thing. Batteries are still good in it. And then look, you know, for what it's worth, everybody needs a little sexy. So we got our Ralph Lauren Beverly Hills cologne, Polo Club, just in case you need to refresh after your gig. Looks like we got a pocket knife in here as well. Not too bad to have. And yeah, so that pretty much does it in that department. And I could tell you that I've used pretty much everything in this bag in an emergency situation. And it fits really neatly in one of your backpacks, or you could put it in your gig bag. I'd say it's maybe about a palm's width thick, you know, whatever, 5 inches thick, maybe about 10 inches long, and it just works out great. So I'd recommend this for any working guitar player, any working musician, bassist, and it's really going to serve you well and serve your friends well and your bandmates well when crap hits the fan, because it will happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I will leave a couple of links down below in the description box if you want to pick up one of these bags. Again, I got it for about 25 bucks on Amazon, and all the bells and whistles in here you can find, again, on Amazon or at your favorite local music store, or, you know, Sweetwater, any of these places. And if you like the video, leave a comment. If you didn't like the video, leave a comment. If you like the video, like it. If you didn't like the video, still like it. And we'll see you guys on another one. And thanks again. And make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. And we'll see you on the next video. Peace.